Okay, start the review from here. Okay, off you pop. Okay, unfortunately this is not going to be a positive review of the Honda CMX Rebel 1100. This is my, I've got, what have I got up to now? 2,000 mile review of this bike. And before I even start this video, I'll start off with a nice bit. So we'll watch some video of me enjoying it. And let me just say, if you have this bike, if this is your first bike, if you enjoy it, if you like it, if you love it, this video review is not for you. Please don't let somebody else's opinion or experience of a bike make you feel bad or negative about your bike. If you love your bike, you love it, absolutely. But if you are somebody who's thinking of getting this bike and is wondering if there's any good bits, bad bits, or anything to consider, then this is more the video for you. But yeah, if you love your bike, watch this next bit, or just stop watching the rest of the video, because unfortunately I'm gonna kind of tear it to pieces. Smooth over the speed bumps. So let's see, sunshiny bits. Let's give it some juice. And brakes are good. Okay, brakes good. Suspension supple. The torque pull that you get is great. Here's some more speed bumps. Just don't even feel like I need to slow down for them at all. Oh, the horse. Here we go. Speed bump. Yep, lovely, lovely and smooth. Oh, here's another speed bump. Whee! Get a little bump off that, but otherwise. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Don't know what could be coming around the corner. Nice and slow around the corner. Oh, speed bump. Lovely. Up we go. And again, lovely road. The thing being allowed to ride a motorcycle in today's environment is just so awesome. Might be. Right, okay, so we're going to show you how bad some of the roads are and how well this bike soaks it up. So along here. Then, you never know if a car's coming around the corner, so always chill when you can't see. Okay, here we go! Okay, this is where the road, this bit on the Triumph bobber is a painful bit of road, but on this, it's still a terrible road, but not nearly as bad. Brakes, no complaint about just like how well it's able to slow you down just using the front brakes as well. So good. And again, that kind of low down, the low speed rumble from the engine and the exhaust is not bad. It's just when you rev bomb, it doesn't quite have the growl that you get from other. What the hell is that? brakes in a nice good straight line. Oh. Yeah, oh wow, that is scary. The ABS kicking in there was a little bit scary. So I had a skid on that first bit, and the second one, the ABS kind of kicked in, not fly, and that was a bit of a weird experience. Nod to the guy. Right, nice and careful. No need to be in third gear here. And then chill. Nice and slow, nice and relaxed. Nice and chill. Nice and chill. Nice and chill. And then it's free! Let's go! Right, where should I do my review video? Okay, I have to say that I'm so disappointed with this bike, and at the end of this video I'll give you an idea of a very similar bike to this, which I think might be the solution to it. So, first of all, what is this bike? It seems to be the cheapest sport cruiser kind of thing that you can get. It's not a total cruiser because it's very powerful, very sporty. And it's one of the cheapest kind of larger engine, you know, 1100cc engine, but its looks, if you think it looks good, you know, looks are subjective, but in comparison to other cruisers are bikes which are meant to look so good you don't need to go fast. Other sports cruisers like the Indian Scout Bobber, or even I think the Harley Davidson Sportster S, the Sportster S sounds terrible, but I think it looks pretty cool. This is just a mechanical machine. There's nothing pretty, nothing nice to look at here at all. And having a cruiser, especially in black, that doesn't look good, that whenever you get off the bike and you walk away, if you're not looking back at your bike thinking, man, that's cool, then that's not really what I think a cruiser is about. A cruiser is a bike that if you park it somewhere, you're sitting in the coffee shop looking back at your bike thinking, that's a beautiful bike, that's a lovely thing to go on a trip with. Instead, this just doesn't have that effect. This just literally, you park it, you walk away. I'm not even scared if somebody's going to steal it because it's just not attractive at all. It's just not interesting, not even from a mechanical point of view either, where you can see bits moving around like that. It's just so dull. And on like part of the things I talk about, like look at the state of the wiring around here. So we've got like these kind of exposed, really tiny little crappy cables there, cables, all these cables. This is just a mess of cabling going on there, and more really small exposed cables there as well. And then down going into like just above the radiator, this just looks like a mess. They've tidied it up for this. That's one bit here, so that bit almost looks good. But if you actually look closely at anything there, it's just an absolute state of wires and cables, and just looks a mess. Like look at 1, 2, 3 cables all coming down into this. So it's just not a good looking bike, even from a mechanical, but you know, if it was a cosmetic point of view, fine, but this isn't even good looking from a mechanical point of view. Additionally, some of the actual piping as well, I just think it's a bit odd, like how this bit kind of curves back the way, but then this just seems like an add-on, and then there's this gap here, as if they just kind of didn't quite know how to weld whatever was going on there. I think it's equally, and like just some of the welding around the exhaust, like what is going on, apart from all these spider webs, The spiders like the bike. Going on there, just, yeah, very strange. Comes down, hole in there for something to gather in, and then, yeah, it's just a bit like it hasn't really been designed very well at all. Okay, let's go! Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah! So Honda being a reliable make is great, but for a cruiser, being the cheapest and being the least attractive looking cruiser isn't a selling feature. You know, being very good value for money for a cruiser shouldn't be a thing that makes you buy, you know, for a commuter, yes. For a thing that you're going to ride in wintertime, yes. For a thing that you have to actually ride for work. But a cruiser bike, in my opinion, in my experience, is something that you buy purely for pleasure, for enjoyment. And this gives no pleasure at all when it's standing still. And partly even when it's running fast as well. So that's the thing. If you don't get pleasure just from looking at your bike, and I really don't get pleasure from looking at this, in fact I am just depressed by it, especially just like all that crap. It's you waste your money. Far better spending a couple extra £1,000 where it just, as soon as you get off the bike, you walk away and then you go, oh, one last glance. There it is, looking good. And then you walk off to do your kind of thing. And then when you've done your thing and you come back, you go, oh, there's my bike. Look at it all pristine and shiny, or whatever it is. This, nope. So high value, like good value, being good value cruiser isn't a selling point. And the other things I would say, so this cowl here for the digital display is just trying to disguise all these terrible wires, this wire mess that's in there. The radiator as well just seems like such a secondary thought of a Ploncon. This also runs hot as heck. Within a very short period of time, that fan is kicking on, and the fan is the loudest fan I've heard out of any motorbike that I've ever heard. Wow. We do the emergency cut-off. We haven't taken the keys out of the ignition. The fan is still going full pelt. A lot of hot air coming out of that. So it works, but boy, it's just sucking up dust out of the carriage. I don't know how, like, when you turn the full engine off, the lights stay on as well. That's something which but it does go off if I fully take the keys out. Yeah. And it is obtrusive, and then the exhaust, you just look at that, and that is just such a turd on the side of the bike. And when you rev bomb it, it's just a bark, it's just a noise rather than a growl. It's really a disappointing, like, no point in you wanting to rev bomb it out of pleasure. It just doesn't do it for me at all. The next thing is the issues with the riding. So as other people have seen in a lot of videos, the high-speed wobble, this bike really suffers from the high-speed wobble. Some people thought it's because they had their phone mounted here. Some people saying to adjust the front springs. So I've tightened them up. That might be making it a little bit less of a high-speed wobble. It's when you're under high acceleration that there's a high-speed wobble, and it definitely comes from the front. It didn't come from the back. You could feel the tank wobbling here. Also, just look at how much that tank wobbles. It's like it's just, that's just a weird, just doesn't seem like it's properly attached on, or it's just on top of so many wires that it's just a bit rubbish there. So the high-speed wobble was an issue, and some people are saying it's the suspension, or what you need to do is get new tires. It's like, what? So you've just got a brand new bike, and on your first week you want to take it over 90 miles an hour, and they're like, oh yeah, if you want to do that you need to get new tires. That's not a great selling feature here. Oh, it's such a cheap bike. Oh, but you need new tires if you want to go fast anywhere. That's all. So yeah, again, that seems to be a mystery that's going online. If you look at everybody, they're still trying to figure out what causes the high-speed wobble. And then the next thing about the cruiser aspect of it, yeah, sure, this can be a sports cruiser, but the cruiser aspect of this, with how jerky it is at slow speeds, from what I've been hearing is that it runs really lean, so there's very little petrol going in, which means for some reason it runs even hotter than it normally would if it was more of a richer fuel mixture. And it also means that the accelerator is so on off. So even if you're pootling around town, the most dangerous place is along a long roundabout, and you're having to keep a constant throttle speed, and it just seems to turn itself on and off, or just the tiniest vibrations where your hand doesn't move but maybe the bike moves underneath you, suddenly it's bouncing, jerking, which just means you don't have a relaxed cruising feel with this at all. So it's just, you can't cruise on this, and you can't do the cruise control until you're at a higher speed. But when you're actually pootling through town, over speed bumps, over holes in the ground, this throttle just makes the riding experience terrible. Okay, sound check. And let's listen to the experience of riding away. So we turn that off. Oh, we'll put the keys in, that'll help. Okay. Such a weak sounding start as well. Not impressive. But beautiful, sunny day, sunny evening. You want to go out for a ride. So you go out for a ride, and this is just depression. So it's got speed, it's got torque, it's got power. That's not a thing to complain about, but a good cruiser, and even a good sports cruiser, is a bike that makes you not feel you need the speed because you're happy to go slow, or you're happy to cruise. This, on the other hand, speed is all it's got. Speed and power is its only redeeming feature. So it just feels like you think, I'm not getting enjoyment out of this, so I have to go, you have to do that all the time, because that's the only place that you get your pleasure. Anyway. So another positive thing I'll say about this bike is the mid controls. Their position is nice and sporty, so when you're really going for it, the position that your feet are in, you can really hug the tank with your knees, and it feels like you can properly get, you know, go around the corners, and it's quite high up. Your feet are high up off the ground there, so you never feel like your feet are going to scrape the floor. You're not doing proper sports bike riding there, but you are in a nice angle. Your feet, your knee, hip, knee, bum and all that stuff are in a nice angle for you to have what feels like good middle control of the bike there. And that's the thing. In the end, what this bike has taught me is that very much choosing a bike on its stats, this being the best value, probably the best value for per horsepower, per sport cruiser style bike you can get, you know, new, with the most reliability and all that kind of good stuff, has absolutely no bearing on whether it's actually a good bike or something that you'll enjoy riding. And that's what this isn't. This is not a thing of enjoyment. This is not a thing of pleasure. This is a thing of getting from A to B. So again, if you're interested in this bike and you just need a bike to get from A to B that's probably really reliable, you don't care what it looks like, you're going to absolutely, you know, trash it during the winter because you're going to be commuting through salt and rain, yeah, use this bike. If you're buying a bike because it's something which you love, you want to take care of, you enjoy cleaning it, polishing it, making it look good, something which will be in your garage and you'll sometimes just go into your garage and just look at and it just gives you joy, that is not what this bike is. However, there is a bike which I think has all the benefits that this has, is even cheaper, and I think is actually a brilliant bike. And what it is not the Honda 1100 Rebel, but the Honda 500 Rebel. So I went to the shop the other day and the 500 looks almost exactly the same. The tank's just a little bit smaller, the brakes are a little bit smaller, the wheels are a bit small, everything's a little bit smaller. But in terms of its value for money, it's a cheap bike. It's still a cruiser style bike. It's a 500cc, so you get about 40 horsepower out of it instead of 80, 90 horsepower out of this. And you can get them, like this one you could get with a touring thing where you can get saddlebags at the side, which do definitely make it more useful. But if you can get the Honda with a red tank, brown leather seat, saddlebags, and it's a single cylinder 500cc engine, so it's cheap, it's reliable, it's economical, and the colors are looking pretty good. So then you start going, oh, I like the seat, I like the tank, I like the little panniers, and you don't notice how crap the engine is, and you probably don't notice. So yeah, getting the fairing, getting a proper fairing here to hide all this crap, possibly a thing to make it look better. Having a proper saddlebags as well, make it definitely look better. But on its own, spending £10,000 or whatever it is on the Honda 1100 as a simple sports cruiser, I would not spend my money on that unless it's a winter bike that I need. But even then, I would get the 500. That's like, I just don't see the point of this when the 500 is out, cheaper, more economical, can have pannier bags. Get the 500. This is trying to go into the next level, the next category of cool sports bikes, and it's not cool at all. It's not pretty, it's not cool, it's not sporty enough, it's not fast enough, it's not cruiser enough, it's not smooth enough. It's the worst of everything and not the best of anything. And that's where the 500, I think, is the complete opposite. It is the cheapest, it is the most economical, it is the most reliable, and it can look pretty good with the red tank and all that kind of stuff, and the leather diamond cut seat. I think that looks fantastic. So if you're thinking of getting this Honda, or you've got the 500 and you're thinking of trading up, I would suspect that you would get less enjoyment trading up to this than you would just keeping your 500 and maybe getting a different sports bike or a different cruiser. This is not an upgrade to really go for, but the 500 I think looks awesome. Here's some more video of it in the shop that I thought. Okay, bye bye. So sorry if you hate this video, it's just my opinion. And again, as I said, if you love your own bike and you think it's great, ignore all my opinion. But if you're thinking about getting this bike and you're wondering what other people think about it, that's mine. Cheers, bye bye. Oh, and lastly, having the key on this side sucks. So annoying. I like it on the side which is visible. Anyway, minor issues. Right, time to head home. Oh god, it sounds so crap. Good for learning maneuvers as well though.